I reached out on Facebook, made a post. It's Loneliness Awareness Week. And, loneliness is one of those things that people have a challenging time acknowledging that is something that we all deal with. And you're like, hey, this sounds like something I'd be interested in talking about, creating a conversation with you around. So what kind of were your thoughts when you first saw the post, and what kind of made you think, hey, this is something I'm interested in talking about?
Well, that's a great question. I think you think for inviting me. I appreciate you hosting me. But the first thoughts that came out through, at least for me, it's that prior to the pandemic, I'm always been very productive. So during the pandemic, obviously we all got hit with the pandemic, and there's no one else but yourself and the four walls. Uh, Thanks to that, I discovered that I enjoy being by myself. I didn't know how much I really, really love being by myself. When no one is around, I always tell people, when no one is around, that's who you are. When no one is watching, that's who you really are. So the pandemic helped me to understand more about loneliness, lonely, and being alone. Because it's all isn't the same kind of vibe, but it's different. It's like being alone is you just by yourself. Feeling alone is like all those feelings. So for me, I was start asking like, why did I enjoy so much being by myself? I couldn't comprehend so much about it. So I start studying and a little more of the consciousness and subconsciousness and how everything works. And it helped me to discover the peacefulness and how much I really enjoy being by myself, and helped me to understand detachment when because I got attached to so many things because I was trying to achieve so many things outside of me. So it got me
Mhm.
distracted. It just got me attracted to other things. But the pandemic is like, no, it's time to go back to yourself. And that's what it came out to me. So when you place like loneliness, I'm like, oh, I can relate to that. Like I relate to that. But prior to the pandemic, I myself got attracted to so many other things that I never experienced per se. But when the pandemic hit, it really helped me comprehend more about myself and get to know more myself a lot better. So I started studying psychology and behavioral psychology and general psychology and cognitive psychology. So I understood, based on the studies that I have, how my subconsciousness works and what the subconsciousness does. Pretty much the subconsciousness is the one that holds all the emotions, memories, feelings, and experiences. So when you talk about feeling lonely, there's something in that browser. If you search, what is
Mhm.
feeling this loneliness? It could be way in your childhood. It could be in high school. It could be in middle school. It could be a few weeks ago. But when you go back to the roots, I think that that can, once you identify it, then you can work on it. It's not pleasant. I gotta say, it's not pleasant because everybody's like, I know I'm talking like I'm like, it's not pleasant. You gotta, if I always tell people, you gotta go through the pain because once you feel that pain, you know how it feels, and then you can overcome it or work through it. But if you continue to jump that pain or that loneliness, it's just gonna continue to appear because you haven't fully experienced the feeling, and after that it becomes part of you. It was like, oh, I recognize this, let's play alone, just come with me. It's not good, not bad, it's just part of you. So the pandemic helped me understand that, and I'm like, it's part of me. It's okay, like it's okay. So that's, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people, I think what you were just speaking into is, if a lot of people could get to that acknowledgement and that recognition of, look, it's not good, it's not bad, it is just a part of us as humans and a part of our experience, there's an opportunity for a lot of freedom within that.
Yes.
So I want you to complete this sentence for me.
Mhm.
And the sentence is, loneliness is.
Loneliness is beautiful. And the reason, at least for myself, the reason why it comes out, um, it is because throughout that process, it helped me comprehend and get to know myself way better than I ever known. I'm so grateful for the pandemic. It's pretty hard and it's pretty sad. So many people lost their lives, and it's not a great event. But if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't think I could have got the opportunity, or have given me the myself the opportunity to get to know myself in that level and going really deep to the root. Obviously, you talking about not just experiencing it, but really, really asking, where is that coming from? Like I know this feeling, like where is it coming from? And just experiencing it to the fullness. And I think if you allow yourself to just be and feel, you will discover so much about yourself. And I think that's what it is. A lot of people get scared when it shows signs or it shows something that it's probably unknown to you into that moment. You already experience it, but it's, especially as an adult, it is unknown, even though you already experience it, because we experience so much as we were growing up. So when you go through that subconsciousness, like look for loneliness, look for sadness, looks for feeling alone, like where this happened, you will find it. And I think if you allow yourself, that's what it is. Just allowing yourself to be and feel, everything else will follow.
So when you started to ask yourself this question about where is this loneliness coming from,
Mhm.
what kind of things, events from your past, what showed up for you?
For me, it's the fact that, I grew up in Mexico City. We were five. So my father, in this particular case, my father was the only provider to the house. So he was barely home. And when he got home, he was just to eat, watch a little bit TV, and go to sleep. I didn't get that fully experience spending too much time with my father just by myself alone. I mean, we always spend time, but it was watching TV. So it wasn't really like all full attention it was on me or it was on my brothers. Plus,
Mhm.
now granted, we were five. So I think that for me, that's what experience it. And now during the pandemic, when I start asking those questions, I start asking my father because I wanted to know. And I had so many difficult conversations with my father before he passed. And I'm so grateful because I had those conversations, because he helped me so much when he left. I was in peace because I got the opportunity to express myself fully. The
Mhm.
conversations wasn't beautiful, but it gave me so much relief. It gave me so much peace, peace of mind more than anything, and helped me to comprehend his background. It helped me to get to know him in a way, in a deeper level that I ever even experienced as a kid. So I think that, so when he passed, and it's just gonna give you a little insight. When he passed, my father passed away on my birthday. So you're talking about something, because my father used to tell me, this is the way of life. This is the way life it is. And I used to get sometimes upset until I say, I I not quite understand what you're trying to tell me. So when he passed away, I'm like, this is it. I was born one day and you're gone the same day. I was born and I'm gonna die. That's it. He opened up myself into a different, like he blew my mind. I'm like, this is what you meant all this time. And I am so grateful that he gave me the opportunity to teach me that lesson in the way he wanted to, you know. So yeah, man, it's been beautiful.
What's something in those difficult conversations? What's something you learned about your dad that you never would have expected to learn?
The fact that he was just passing on all the information over generations. I mean, I got a little bit of background because, you know, all the self-discovery and self-work that I've been doing, I knew a little bit of the background. But when I asked him questions, and there were times when he say, it's like, you know, not at this moment. I don't, I'm not ready. And I'll be like, okay, I will give him his space. But when I got the opportunity, when he told me those things, it gave me so much background that, wow, this is generation over generation. And it's true, because I don't remember, like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. My father, you know, used to, sometimes I behave not the best way. I wasn't the best kid. I'll be honest with you. I was mischief all the time, mischieving all the time. So I accept. I had to admit that. So his punishment will be like he will hit me, but sometimes he will hit me just once, and that will be a no. And then he will say, if you think that hurts, I wish he will. I don't remember him or my mom. I wish you could feel the way my father, that means my grandpa, would
Mhm.
hit me, and with what I got beat up. And I remember that's when I was having those conversations. I was like, wow. So I asked him, like, so that means if do you remember this? And I will bring it up. And he's like, yeah. So it's like, so that means my grandfather, his father, that's just like that's the way we grew up. Back in the days, that's the way it used to be.
Mhm.
That's the way it is. That's the way it was. So help me comprehend that is all these generations. And I say, I don't want to do this. I really honest, I have a daughter and I had never hit my daughter and I had never yelled at my daughter. Never. And that's one of the things that I'm really proud of because I broke that pattern because I'm in charge. They did what they did because they wanted to. I remember when my daughter was born, I remember crying and promised to her, I will never, ever make you go through some of the things that I experienced as a kid. And until these days, that's one of the things that I'm so grateful and I'm really proud of myself that I've been able to break those patterns. But that's one of the biggest lessons that I'm like, oh, all of those things becomes by generations. So what I tell people nowadays, you're in charge of whatever is happening now. Whatever happened with them, they didn't know better. Now you know better, you can do better.
Yeah.
It's, if you want to repeat those patterns, it's okay. Just be okay with the consequences that comes up with it. For me, there's no comparison. I mean, the feeling like, you know, when I talking to you right now, I wish my parents will experience this feeling because it's beautiful, you know, but they didn't know better. So
And you know what? We don't know. They could be
exactly.
experiencing it in a whole different way that
Yeah,
we're not currently aware of with the circumstances we have in front of us right now.
it's true.
So before the pandemic and before having this kind of revelation of what loneliness is now to you, what was a time when you were at your loneliness before, your loneliest before you ever knew that, like, you wouldn't have called it a beautiful thing?
Yeah. That was back in 2014. Well, there's two times. Back in 2010 and 2014. 2014, the reason why is because that's when I move on from my retail job with a sales job. And I decided I'm a personal trainer, so I decided to go on my own. Now, granted, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew that I needed to do it. That's how I felt, and it made me happy when I was training people on the side. I used to pay people even to go to the gyms so I can train them for
Mhm.
free, no charge. I just feel excited doing it, and it made me feel like this. It's that feeling. It's hard for me to express it and to even tell you what it feels like. But back in that days, I remember quitting and hearing all these voices. You don't know what you're doing. You're stupid. You're gonna fail. Like personal training it's very hard. It's not worth it. You're not gonna be able to survive. Blah blah. I heard them all, and I heard them from people that I thought they were my friends. Now, the reason why this is my own thinking. I think they really care for me. They just didn't know how to guide me per se. They didn't know how to express it or how to guide me through a different experience. So back in that time, I remember quitting, and the next day it felt great. Waking up, not feeling that pressure of having a retail job because I just didn't agree with a lot of the things that were happening. But then the next day, everything hit me. And I remember that feeling. I'm like, whoa, there's no one contacting you. There's nothing. I really felt, I'm like, whoa, this is like, I start questioning myself about everything. Like, what in the world did just happen? Like, what am I doing? And I just didn't know how to process it. So it took me into a depression that it lasted for almost 4 months until I snap out of it. And I just snap out of it. And I'm so grateful that I did. But it was one of the most loneliest uh, times that I have experienced. That period from 2000, it was the beginning of 2015. It was from January to April, those 4 months. I remember I have so many memories, and they okay, they helping me too. I'm like, oh, you're there. I'll recognize you, but this moment you're not helping me anymore. So I got to move on a different direction. But yeah, that was the time that I have that I really experienced it, and it was part of my life.
And what do you think were some of the things that helped you in that moment when you snapped out of it and you came back out of your loneliness?
One of the things was the fact that I was gonna be homeless. Scared the hell out of me. I didn't have money. I had enough money, like savings money, to live up to 6 months. Things happens during those 4 months that he got me. I had to get extra help because I'm like, I need some help. I can do this. I'll be honest with you. And then when I was like, this is all I have for this month. Like, what am I going? I don't have a job. I quit my job. I like, what am I gonna do? That feeling of being homeless, it's like not having a home anymore, it scared the hell out of me. And I say, no, I'm not going. I'm not going there. I'm not ready. I remember talking to myself. I'm not ready. I just snap out of it. And I said, this is it. I'm going to the gym every day, twice a day. I don't care. So I spent as much as time as I could at the gym because that's the place that I remember made me feel like I was part of something, even though I didn't talk to anybody. I was just there doing my own thing, and the gym made me feel like I was part of something. And now that I can, if you ask me, like, why the gym? Well, if you think about it, energy, I mean, location has energy. In the gym, everybody's is trying to get better. All that energy, I was just trying to absorb it. So no wonder now I'm like, oh, that's the reason why. It's not only made me feel better, like it's all the energy that I got that I felt in love with it. So that was the time when I said, I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to experience that. Like I no way. Like it's really scare me a lot. And I say no, I'm not going there. And I'm so grateful that I did it because that particular gym when I used to spend twice in the gym, go in the morning, in the afternoon, the trainers, uh the manager of the trainers hire me in the spot. It's like, hey, I see you coming in. I see you like, are you a personal trainer? I said, I'm certified. I'm looking for a job. It's like, you want to work here? The next day I got the interview and I got hired. So I was just like, okay. So I'm so grateful for me getting out of that. But it's something like I recognize about myself that once I put something into my mind, it doesn't matter what gets in my way, I'm gonna achieve it. That's something that I learned about myself. That once it's something on my mind, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes, I had to do whatever thing I had to do, I'm going to achieve it. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take me. I will, once it's in my mind. So I learned the power of mind. And it's like, it's been beautiful, dude.
Yeah, man, I relate to that so much. There is a lot of power in the gym and
Yes.
being a part of a fitness community, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because people often talk about meditation and
Mm-hmm.
being like real clear and spending time alone with yourself. I find the gym is that place for me to do that specifically. So that resonates with me a whole lot.
Glad to hear that. I think the gym is amazing, though.
Yeah. Um, so if you could go back as the man you are right now and talk to that man who was experiencing that time in loneliness, making that decision, what advice or what conversation would you have with that man?
Um, that's a great question and beautiful thought. I've done it before. In order for me to heal myself in a way, I had to have conversations with every phase in my life that I have. What I think they were pretty rough, and they part of my journey. They come tends to then help me to become the person that I am today. Uh, but if I can go back now, I will tell him that he's very brave for doing the unthinkable. Even though he didn't know how, he knew where he was going. Unfortunately, he will find a way to block the noise, it could have been better.
Mm,
However, um, it needed to happen this way in order for us to be in this journey together. So that's what I will tell him.
that's beautiful. And I think the final question that I have for you is, if there's somebody out there right now that's experiencing loneliness, and
Yeah.
it's more of what probably society deems as lonely, and being that it's a negative thing, they don't necessarily know how they're going to get out of it. What words of wisdom do you have for that person?
I will tell them, first of all, ask for professional help. And that's the first thing. I think it's important that we mention that getting professional help, as you can tell, like I've mentioned a couple of times, I needed help. I couldn't help myself. I think that's the first thing. And I'm glad that there's so much help up there from, it's at your hand. You just had to search for it. Now, the second thing is that you're not alone. And it's okay to be where you are. You're not ahead, you're not behind. You are where you need to be. So when you understand that you are where you need to be, everything else will settle. Because we're always thinking in the future and we are so anxious for the past. If you can just find a way just to come to this and say, like, I am where I need to be. I'm not ahead, not behind. Can things be better? Maybe. It couldn't be different, maybe. But at the moment, this is where you are, and it's okay. And and like I said at the beginning, trying to find a way to get to know yourself better. I think see this as an opportunity to get to know yourself better. Being in one place by yourself, it's it's beautiful if you give yourself the opportunity to enjoy. It's not gonna be pleasant, but if you can start asking those questions, and why, where is this coming from, what is trying to tell me, I think that can be a door that needs to be open. You just have to trust yourself and believe in yourself that that door is the door that you need to open and embrace. Because a lot of times we open that door and we just shut it because it's too scary. Open that door. It's gonna be all up and downs, but that's life. That's just life. Life's up, downs, and it's part of the journey. It's just part of the journey. So I think that's what I will tell them.
That's gonna hit somebody in a way that they probably didn't expect from watching this interview, I bet. Is there
Thanks.
anything that I didn't ask you that you want to make sure and share with anybody who sees this?
Anything? No, I think you did ask me everything. I appreciate the fact that you let me open up. Me personally, I love talking about those things, and I think I'm grateful for the opportunity. I really appreciate your time and the energy. You know, but loneliness is just part of the journey. Being alone or feeling alone is just part of the journey. It's uh, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. Get to know yourself. Ask yourself all those hard questions. They're not easy, but they will help you uncover several things that are there for us. I continue to ask myself a lot of questions. Trust me, I always ask myself a lot of questions, especially when I'm meditating. I
What's
ask
your
myself,
what's
yeah,
your like one of your go-to questions that you find yourself asking a lot?
yeah, why am I feeling this? What is this feeling? All those feelings, we know them. But if you try to break down the feeling, we often say, "Oh, I'm angry at this person," and it's like, are you angry or are you upset? Are you frustrated? So if you start breaking down the emotion, you will uncover. And the other thing is like I say, I'm upset or I'm frustrated at the person. No, separate the behavior from the person. You're frustrated for the actions or whatever that person did to you or it didn't, and whatever thing is happening. But the person it's not the behavior. So separate the person from the behavior. It's like I get upset sometimes with my daughter and I let her know, listen, I'm upset at you, not necessarily for you, but it's the behavior. I'm upset at the behavior that you are showing up. I'm not upset
Mhm.
with the real you. I'm not upset with you. I love you, but I'm upset at your behavior. I think we can talk about it. So separate the behavior from the person. That's one of the things that I learned in psychology, and it has helped me so much with my relationship with my dad. It's a game changer. So separate the behavior from the person. It's very powerful.
Yeah, man. This has been a great conversation. Appreciate sharing the space with you and the energy with you. When you were kind of talking about the definition. So over my time of becoming and stepping into the loneliness coach, a lot of my own definitions have started to change and how I
Yeah,
look at things. And one of the things that I like to tell people now when it comes to connection, um, and often when we experience loneliness, it comes from a place of rejection. Like we fear
yeah,
rejection and we fear being abandoned. And so
yeah,
the way I look at connection now is it's not actually your relationship with another person. Your ability to find connection is the amount of yourself that you are willing to face, the amount of self rejection that you are willing to look at and say, why am I placing this on myself?
yeah. It's true. That's beautiful, man. That is
Yeah,
beautiful.
man.
And I'm
So,
glad that it changes because that's what it is. We continue to evolve and things are going to be uh, continue to change. And then that's beautiful because that's detachment. It's
yeah,
helping you
man.
continue to detach from different ideas that we have because you continue to learn, evolve, learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
100%, man. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you, man.